Guys, Sifa here with FBTV. Look, we talked a little bit about credit. Kat's here going to give us some education on bettering our credit. And then, I just saw a comment and I was posting something in the story and I saw somebody said, I love following you. This on Instagram. He said, because we two, the kennel partners on my team thought I was crazy. I said, we got to move away from this American bully. Guys, buying a bully is like having a 500 credit score, and y'all thinking y'all got an 800. It really is that simple. But she's going to help us make it make more sense. I'm going to tie a few things in there in relation to dog. You guys are going to learn something because I'm going to learn something. So stay tuned. Guys, so I just asked Kat, I said, hey, what can you buy with a 500 credit score? And she told us you can buy nothing. Now, why is that?
At 500, you're just not credible. At 500, you've either done something, like, that's not just lack of credit. Like, at 500, you've done something to mess it up. You've made a mistake or two at that point.
So what's the path to increasing your credit when you start at a 5? Like, how do you, what's the first thing they need to do?
As far as credit building?
Yes.
That first thing is getting on their authorized user. Find a family member, find a friend, find somebody that does have good credit and have them put you on a card.
And good credit means they pay their bills on time.
Correct.
Now, unauthorized user people is oftentimes you can attach yourself to someone else's, hopefully not problems. Some of y'all get on some stuff like, dang, bro, you ain't paying the bill? But like she said, a mother or a father who takes care of the home, you get on there. And what's that how long does it take to get on become an authorized user?
So that just depends on the report date.
Okay.
That's fairly simple. So if it reports on the 1st and they add you before that, then usually by the 2nd or the 3rd, it'll report on your credit report.
And in some cases, and correct me if I'm wrong, they can give the person a card to use.
They can.
I wouldn't recommend it. If you got bad credit, just be on they thing and leave them alone. Okay? Do not have them, hey man, can I get a card? No. Just no.
Yeah.
So authorized user is probably the first place to start when you are starting at a 5.
Correct.
And then what do they do?
And that's when you gotta start adding your own stuff. You gotta start showing that you're fiscally responsible, that you have the ability to make payments on time, because an authorized user is piggybacking. You're piggybacking off of somebody else's good credit. Now it's your turn to start building your own. So you can start with secured credit cards, small credit builder accounts, stuff like that, just to start getting some payment history in your name.
Now guys, you're probably thinking, why is this guy talking about credit and dogs? Let me be very clear and tell you this. When we sold, I think we had 11 pups in our last litter, and there were some people who said, hey man, I don't really got the full deposit right now, but I can send you $600, it's $400. And I let everyone know. I mean, every time I say, look, my man or young lady, I said, you don't have to buy a dog. I said, if you ain't got it right now, it is not the end of the world. In this case, I probably made people feel like it's the end of the world because I let you know, ain't gonna be no more puppies till next year. For ones that are itching, they're like, my man, but I need one now. Nobody needs a dog right now, especially right now in these times. So when we're thinking about credit, I think, my man, if you're struggling, if you ain't got the funds, do not put yourself in a financial rut or hole. I tell them this. This is before we even start doing this. I tell them this. I say, look, if you ain't got it, my man, it's good. You're not hurting me none. It's 1,000 more people literally ready to purchase a dog. So if you look at your credit score, that's gonna make you a good or bad person, people. As she says, it means you're not credible. And a lot of times, if you're African American, your lack of credibility is due to the fact of education, which is why I think it's a huge opportunity to tie this in with dogs. But even more importantly, as I told you, help you guys out. I'm not one note. Kanye said it best, don't marginalize me and don't box me into nothing. This is a business and I know how to build businesses, so we're going to take our time to really think things through. Now, when you get to a 700, and again, I try not to buy dogs at 500. You know what a 500 credit score dog is? A dog with no papers. You know how many messages I get? Hey man, how I get the papers on this dog? My man, why did you buy from somebody that didn't do business? And then get a dog and try to solve all the problems that I'm addressing and then still want to breed the dog. And some people I've seen some stuff at times. Well, what if we got the dog and it was just a bad situation? Okay, then take care of the dog. Don't breed the dog. You ain't got to breed the dog. You ain't got to have papers on the dog. Not everything needs replication. You ain't got to you ain't got to breed the dog because you took it off somebody's hand thinking you was going to come up. Stop it. But I get people like this They already make, and again, credible. I like the idea of credible. You already bought from somebody who was not credible. You know why they wasn't credible? Because they didn't know the first thing about business. And then you say, hey, how do I get the dog to be to here? 740. And 740 people is not the Lambo, it's not the Benz, it's not the it's not the mansion. It's a healthy dog in this case. That's what it is. She said she has one of our dogs, her and Jamal, and guess what? They had no problems the first year. They feed the dog well, and that's the kind of stuff you want. I mean, even the guy right now, shout out to my man Ray, he just texted me literally earlier. He's got one of Zara's sons right now, and he says, hey, he's the only one who can be off without the leash. Every other dog he got on a leash, and the other dog didn't ran. You know, he's up there meeting with other people. Our dogs, some people say they're different. I'm not going to tell you they're different. They're pretty smart though, and they're not problems. So we're trying to breed out problems. Now, 500. How long does it take to improve a 500 credit score? If you're an authorized user, that's it. And what's the other thing that you can get where you like put money down on the card, and then what's that called?
Secured card.
Oh, how beneficial is that?
They're definitely beneficial. It's a good way to get started because if you're at a 500, you're not going to get approved for a regular credit card. So you have to start with something secured because they're going to let you borrow against your own money.
I see. And then so how long does it take to improve a 500 credit score if you do secure card and the authorization?
So that really just depends on, again, what you did to mess it up.
Yeah.
You know, if it was one of those things where you just had no credit and you made one late payment, it could very easily drop you to that. So you could very easily jump back up. Whereas if you spent the last 10 years running off on accounts and you've got 10 collections on your file and every single account has a late payment, that type of thing, that's a totally different situation. Took you years to get there. It could take you 6 months, 8, a year to kind of get back into a space where, you know, you become trustworthy to the banks again.
Interesting. And what's the worst thing you could do to your credit?
The worst thing you can do? Don't pay on time.
That's the worst thing.
That's the worst thing. That's going to be the easiest way to drop your score 50, 80, 100 points at a time.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. So when you're at a 700 to 740, now she told us a 740, basically you can get everything. They'll lend you enough money for a car, a house. Your mama needs a loan. They be like, oh, we got you. you somebody like, yo, my mom's struggling right now, man. She need a house. Okay. 740 is where you at now. What do you think, Kat, if you had to guess now, what do you think has more value, a dog or a house?
It depends on who you talk to, but
from where you stand, someone calls you, says, I got credit problems, I want to get a house. Well, you just spent $10,000 on a dog.
Yeah.
How do you plan on getting a house with a $10,000 dog? Well, the dog's supposed to help me buy the house. When?
Right.
Values though, right? And that's what she's saying, like, hey, it depends on what you value, right? What would you do? Get a house or a dog?
Oh, I personally am not going to have a dog if I don't have a house to put it in. So
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? People planning says, I'm not going to buy a dog if I don't have a house to put it in. And now we did an episode about an apartment not being the worst place for a dog, but trust me, there's a good flow here to our dogs. I've always loved being in a home better. When we was at Jamarcus's house, believe me, that backyard and just having access to go out there and play with them, it's a whole different thing. I've got a super tight system when I'm in apartments with all these dogs, believe me, and you have to get them out. Like it's 3 times the work, if I'm being honest. So buy a house, then get a dog. Mm-hmm. Or don't buy a house, don't buy a dog and then, you know, try to get a house. What are some things that you could tell them to do to bridge this gap to this gap? Because I know that you said 500 was where you want to start. Mm-hmm. If I'm using dogs as an analogy, people, don't start with the backyard breeders. Don't start there. If you really want to get a dog, save up. In our next episode, she's going to help us break down the importance of budgeting. It should be on the whiteboard, because I think that in itself can be challenging when you don't know how to budget. I've told you all from when our pups were born, save $100 every 2 weeks for those that are in that first 10 to 15 call for like getting a dog next year. If you're on our waiting list and you're in that first 10 to 15, we're not going to have a lot of conversations about the money. By now, you know we take care of the dog. By now, we're breeding. By now, I show you every step of the process, the pups being born, what we're doing, all the stuff they go through. You're going to see it all. So when it's time to collect the money, I want to have a long discussion with you. It's like, yo, you had a whole year, because we don't breed back to back to back. But if you were going to bridge the gap from 500 to 700, what are some goals that they should set to get to 700? Because another thing I think we talked about even last night, and I don't care much, is people lack setting financial goals. And what is a financial goal?
Yeah, so for your first question, bridging the gap between that 5 to 7, the biggest thing is having positive payment history working in your favor. So what a lot of people don't understand is throughout the credit repair process, we're deleting negative items, but if there's nothing positive there, building payment history, you're still, by the time that we're done deleting everything negative, you're still gonna have a bad score. You're just gonna have a fresh slate.
So it's like nothing from nothing equals nothing.
Exactly.
You started with nothing, you didn't
Zero
do nothing.
plus 0 equals.
Yeah, so we're still at 0 regardless, even if we fix it all.
The difference is at that point, you add that one authorized user once we've removed everything, and you're gonna be to 700.
Guys, I love math. I love numbers. I'm a numbers guy. So even when she said difference, it took me back to a moment when my dad was terrorizing me with word problems. So when she says difference, I hear subtraction. That's what I hear. And when she said, the difference, we keep subtracting and you have nothing to add. So you're still losing value, or you're not building value. And value in this case is being able to have a conversation with the bank in some cases, or even an investor, or, property, or whatever the case may be, a car, a house. You can't have a conversation if they don't know where to start, to say the least. What else?
So yeah, several accounts, stuff working in your favor. Again, making
What's
sure.
too many accounts though?
There's no such thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you have 30 accounts on your credit file, the bank is gonna eat you up. They love it.
Keep sending you stuff. It's like, hey, you're looking good right now. We'd love to give you $10,000. Somebody be like, this, man, they just gave me $10,000.
Oh yeah, it gets crazier from there. There are people with personal credit cards for 40 and 50 grand. Yeah, it's a thing. So yeah, making sure that you're staying on top of your stuff, budgeting. I know we're going to talk about that in another video, because that's going to be super important to, that's the first step to having good credit, right? Is understanding your finances, understanding where all your money's going, what you can actually afford, not just what the bank gives you, right? Because they don't always necessarily equal the same thing. So yeah, staying on top of all of that stuff, making sure that the accounts that you do have are in good shape and that nothing else is going negative, especially while you're in the repair process, because there's no point in us continuing to try and get all this stuff off of your report if we continue to pop up with new negative accounts.
Man. Lord have mercy, guys. So let me sum this up in the lightest way. What you don't want to do is, everybody feels like they're in a race. The challenge is the average American is running nowhere. There are 4 things that you do in life. You go on vacation, you potentially take care of your kids, you go to the grocery store, you go to school, and then you die. That's it. Go to the bathroom quite a bit most of your life, but there's only so many places you can even see in the world. So if you think about it, where are you actually going where everybody's rushing? Even if you have all the money in the world, you only get to go on vacation. You only get to go to school. You only get to go to the grocery store, and you only get to go home. That's if you have one. Out of those 4 places, where else are you rushing to? And I put this in perspective when I was walking Jamarcus through the importance of slowing down. I said, my man, I don't know why anybody's rushing. Like, where are you rushing to? Okay. I just talked to the homie. I said, yo, where you at? He said, I'm in Guatemala. I'll get back at 3. My other homie was in literally Cancun, and then he just got back from Jamaica before that. He said, I'm back. That's all they do. And he goes to work 16 hours a day. Oh, that's right. You go to work too. So you go to work. You had to go to school when you were younger. You go home. You go on a few vacations. And I got homies that have traveled the whole world. I got kids. I call them kids. Jack's been to Pompeii. I go down the line. But I always ask somebody when they come to me with this big old vision for these dogs and this plan. I said, where are you really headed in life? Tell me. Jeff Bezos right now is building a $100 million home for his new wife. His new fiance. They just building this place to go every night that's bigger than everybody else's. At the end of the day, he can go on the jets. He has a whole yacht. You go down the line, where are you really headed in life? And that's the question that, trust me, when I ask it, people just look like a deer in headlights. You know what happens to the deer in headlights? They get ran over. They get ran over, hit hard, and then they tear your car up. And a lot of y'all is tearing your life up because you're not giving yourself a fair start. So in the dog space, not only have you guys frustrated me a lot, I got out of it 10 years ago because of frustration, because you guys were here. You're like, man, I got this dog. You're like, I got a dog with a 500 credit score. And then to top it off, I really have nothing to show for. There are people getting out of this whole dog space, my friend, and some of y'all think it's here, but this right here isn't the biggest, baddest bully. Trust me. I've shot the best, been at the Nationals. This right here is just a healthy dog, man. You know, people just want a good dog that they ain't got to worry about. So our goal is to take you from here to here. Make sure you can live well with your dog. Understand how to bridge C gaps, and don't rush the process. The process sometimes is y'all trying to find money you don't got to keep up with people who are struggling like you. Believe me, it's the same struggle. It's the same struggle. It's just being portrayed different due to social media. So, guys, Tifa here, FBTV. Like, subscribe, and share. We're going to continue to highlight things that I think could benefit us all. Their company's called Offer
Credit Solution.
There you go. Offer Credit Solutions. If you have questions, reach out to them. They can help. You have any questions about credit, solving problems. If you're running a real business and you have business questions, business loan, business this, business that, I've learned so much in the week I've been here, and I'm excited because you go, man, you know how many people we can help just by enlightening and kind of like bridging that gap and just continue to take care of the dogs and ourselves. Guys, we'll talk some more.